All right. Well, guys, this is my first time joining you in the month of November. I was away this past week in San Diego at Bo Eason's personal story power workshop. Man, I'll tell you, it was awesome. It was awesome. It was one of those environments that secures your commitment to play at bigger levels. So I am coming out of there with clarity, with drive, with excitement, with that feeling that we are only playing at the very beginning of what we're going to be able to do and build. And so I'm excited. I'm genuinely excited. And while we were in San Diego, I got to take my daughter with me. Some of y'all have met my daughter. I've had her on this call before. I got to take her with me. And so we had a lot of time to have really good conversations about what is it you want from life? What is it you want in this life? And as we're walking the streets and we're talking, we saw a relatively high number of homeless people, saw a number of people dealing with severe mental health, drug issues. And as we're walking by, I asked her this question. I said, Sadie, how many of them in that position do you think wanted to be in that position? How many people in that position that we're seeing were little kids saying, when I grow up, this is the situation I want to be in as an adult. This is the vision I have for myself. That's a rhetorical question because the answer is none of them. None of them had a dream when they were young of ending up on the streets, isolated socially with drug addictions. That was not what they wanted for their life, yet that's where they ended up. And so I started thinking, what determines what we get in life? It obviously isn't what we want. Because lots of us want things that we haven't achieved. Lots of us want stuff. Lots of us would have envisioned ourselves in different places, and we're not there. So if it's not about what we want, what determines what we get from life? I've been playing with a thought a lot in my mind and haven't really fleshed it out. So I don't know if I'm going to settle with this. But what I think I see right now are three types of people. I see the type of person that's able to have a vision for what they want and show up consistently for that vision, even if they don't necessarily need it, they just kind of want it. Kelly Bush, I think, is that greatest example to me, and maybe because I had a front row seat to watch how she built this business. But she didn't come in from a place of broken. She didn't come in from a place of, I absolutely have to make this work with my back against the wall. She came in here with this vision of, man, this would be really cool to achieve. And so, by nature of just seeing that, she was able to show up consistently for that goal every day without even necessarily needing it. To me, that type of person is is a superhero. I mean, like superhero. I have not learned yet how to do that consistently. I operate myself in what I see as the second category of person, and I'll call them a hero, not quite a superhero, but I'll call them a hero. And this is the type of person that, with their back against the wall, they're going to rise to the occasion. With their back against the wall, they're going to rise to the occasion. When I came in here, and you'll see a lot of Symmetry success stories from here, operate in this category where my back was against the wall. I was broken. I didn't have the luxury of seeing if this was going to work. This had to work. And I rose to the occasion and did what I had to do. That's the second category of person. I know Brad Smith operates in that category. Ryan Miller operates in that category. Go ahead and drop in the comments, drop the name of someone you've seen operate from either of those categories. They won just because they wanted to and they were able to show up consistently. Or two, Their back was against the wall and they simply had to. And so they did. A lot of names coming through. I love the people putting myself, because that's going to bring me to the third category of person. And the third category of person, that's a category that haunts me. The third category of person are the people with their backs against the wall. They absolutely have to make this work, and they still don't. They don't even rise to the occasion. They need this, and they still don't. That category of person haunts me. You want to know the most haunting thing about that category of person? Is when they're in their position needing this, they look to the people in category 2. They look to the people that rose to the occasion when they had to, and they identify themselves with those people. They say, my back's against the wall just like yours was, Jim. My back's against the wall just like Brad Smith's. My back's against the wall just like you. So I identify myself with your story. When you tell your story, I see myself in your story. The difference between my story and your story is I rose to the occasion and you can't freaking get out of your own way. It's one of the things that we learned at Bo Eason's personal story workshop. And what he taught us was, when you're telling a compelling story, it's not about you and your story. What is the audience hearing? The audience is putting themselves into your story. They're projecting themselves in your story. So while you're telling your story, they're imagining their version of your story. And so when someone tells a story of, my back was against the wall and I had to do this, and you're in that position, you're projecting yourself into that story. What you're also doing is you're filling in some gaps that might not have actually been in that story. A number of you guys at conference, I had a lot of people come up to me at conference, and they would come up to me and say, you know, Jim, when you said blah, 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 whatever it was, and I'm thinking to myself, I never said those words. You know, Jim, when you were there and you said this thing, I'm like, I have never actually in my life thought to say that thing. I've literally never said that. And I've never said those words. I don't even think I've explored that concept. That wasn't me. You want to know what happened? They heard me. They projected themselves onto that story. They filled in the blanks. Jim, that really spoke to me when you said that. Funny, because I never said that. I never said that. You projected your story onto that. You pulled that out of there. And it's that third group of person that haunts me the most, because they're going to see themselves in category 2. They're going to say, if only I don't quit, I'm going to get to the top just like these people that I admire. But you want to know what really determines what you get? It is not what you want. It is not what you need. I watch a lot of people need stuff and don't get it with their back against the wall. They don't rise to the occasion even though they need to. So if it's not what you want, it's not what you need. What's going to determine what you get in your business? What's going to determine what you get in your life? You want to know the answer to that? It's what you tolerate. It's what you tolerate. It's what you allow. That's going to determine what you get. It's what you tolerate. If you tolerate doing $1,000 in premium in a month, if that's okay for you, you're going to fall to there. If you tolerate a week where you only do 100 dials, you're going to get the business of a 100 dial a week business. If you tolerate only meeting with 1 or 2 families a week, you're going to get the business of somebody that only does 1 or 2 appointments a week. I'm a voracious reader, voracious consumer of content. And I forget what book it was I was reading. I don't think it was 4 Agreements. It could have been 4 Agreements. The premise of it was this. The premise that I read, and I forget where I got it from, was that each of us, when it comes to abuse, Each of us are going to tolerate abuse up to the level we abuse ourselves. We're going to each tolerate abuse up to the level we abuse ourselves. I want you to think about that. If you imagine yourself as absolutely powerful and you have a high value on yourself and a high level of respect for yourself, and someone disrespects you, you don't believe that's true. You don't tolerate that. Even if you don't push back against that, you know in your head that's not true and it doesn't sink in or affect your drive ability. But if someone says something and you believe it is true because you've repeated that to your own mind over and over again, you're going to let them speak to you that way. You're going to tolerate abuse up to the level you abuse yourself. And what you tolerate determines what you get. And I'm going to give you guys just a simple metaphor where you can realize the truth of this. I want you to think about levels and areas in your life. Guys, it could be so simple, but I want you to think of an area in your life where you have leveled up and you've stopped tolerating something you used to tolerate. It could be as simple as freaking coffee. I've become a coffee snob. I used to drink any coffee. Now I do not drink any coffee. I will not go to a gas station and get coffee. I don't tolerate that level. I've raised the standard of my floor. I have raised my floor. I no longer tolerate anything under that. I want you to go in the comments and I want you to explain and detail something in your life where you have raised the bar and you no longer tolerate anything underneath that level. Fred, gas station coffee hits. It does till you raise that floor, Fred. You've already done this in your life. You've already raised the floor in areas of your life, recognizing there are things in your life that you will no longer tolerate. You've already done this. Take that truth and apply it to other areas of your life. Because in your relationships, you're going to get what you tolerate. In your business, you're going to get what you tolerate. In your finances, you're going to get what you tolerate. See, my back was against the wall and I knew I had to, unequivocally, I had to make in deposits $2,500 a week to keep the lights on. I had to. So guess what my floor was? Do you think under that context, I was willing to accept a week and tolerate a week where I only brought in 1,000 or 1,500 in deposits? No. No, I was not willing to tolerate that. That was an absolutely unacceptable week. If I copied and pasted that week over and over, I was going to be bankrupt, broken out of business. I couldn't tolerate a week with less than $2,500 in deposits in my account. I couldn't tolerate it. If it ever happened, it was not okay. The world broke. See, that's the difference between the people in category 2 and the ones in 3. They both come from a place of, I desperately need this to work, but the ones in 2 are not willing to tolerate it not working, and the ones in 3 have gotten very used to it not working. So they're going to say, I need this to work, but they're going to tolerate it not working. Week after week after week, they're going to tolerate it not working, and they're going to project themselves into the stories of the people who rose to the occasion saying, we're the same. We both need this the same. And I'm going to come back. We're not the same because we tolerate different things. If your back is against the wall and you want a Brad Smith story and you want a Jim Larsen story, it's not enough to just identify with the need. It's not enough to identify with the want. It's not enough to identify with the ambition. You want that story, you need to identify with what they were willing to tolerate, because that's the difference. You want a Brad Smith story? Then ask Brad what he was willing to tolerate and unwilling to tolerate. If you adopt those principles, you're going to end up with a Brad Smith story. It's not enough to find me at conference and say, Jim, my back's against the wall, just like you. We're the same. Are we the same? Because you went on 3 vacations this year, you show up for 200 dials, and you check out of your business more often than you did it. You watch more hours of Netflix than I worked. We're not the same. You want my story? Start tolerating what I tolerated and start refusing to tolerate what I refuse to tolerate. That's the differentiator. When you're looking at successful people, those names you put in the comments, the people you admire, if you want the story the people you admire had, you got to get on the same page with them in what they were willing to tolerate. You can't just identify on the level of desire. You can't just identify on the level of need, because what you're going to get is what you're willing to tolerate. Don't tolerate a 100 dial week. Don't tolerate a $1,000 month. Don't tolerate less than your goals. Don't tolerate less than progress. Because if you start tolerating it, man, you're going to tolerate it next week and the week after till you don't have a business anymore. Welcome back, Jim. Man, I love y'all. It's good to see. It's good to see so many faces here. We're at 485. We're getting close to justifying that $500 bump in my Zoom subscription. Man, I'm excited for what this month is going to be. I'm excited to watch people in this group raise the bar, raise the floor on what they're willing to accept from themselves. You raise that bar and you're going to get a different life. You raise that bar, you're going to get a different business. That's the bar you raise, though. That's the one. It is the one. I'm not going to tell you to raise your goal bar. I'm not going to tell you to raise the ceiling. I'm not going to tell you to want for things that you don't even know are possible. Because if you don't know it's possible, it doesn't matter. So I'm not asking you to write a big goal. I'm not asking you to have a why that makes you cry. I'm asking you to raise the floor on what you're willing to tolerate. That's going to be the game changer. All right, let's see if I know how to figure out breakout rooms from my phone. No, that ain't it. Shoot. All right. I can't even figure out how to stop this recording from my phone.